We're here with Michael Diamond and Sabrina Maddeaux. And we were talking about the leadership, Conservative Leadership Party race, and Pierre Poilievre winning. Since becoming the leader on September 10th, Mr. Poilievre has been out and about talking about his policies and what he wants for Canada with the people and giving interviews. There has been a lot of commentary on Mr. Poilievre. And Michael, what do you think about Mr. Poilievre's media attention, how people are perceiving him?
Well, I think, there's no group more obsessed with Pierre's strategy around media than media itself. I think he obviously has a message that's resonating with Canadians and is punching through to Canadians. So the fact that he's not doing interviews and the 5 o'clock shows on CBC and CTV with national media doesn't mean that he's not actually talking to media and that his message isn't getting through. His use of social media is light years ahead of any other politician or political party in Canada right now. So full credit to him on that. In terms of his interaction with media throughout the leadership campaign, he did not go to a center without talking to local media. So he certainly is talking to media. He's just not talking to media necessarily in the way that the Ottawa press gallery, the parliamentary press gallery, expects a politician to. And I think, he's leading the pack here. They should get ready for others to be following that, because there's definitely more impactful ways of getting your message through. And he's just an early adopter.
Agreed. I think that, like you said, he had a plan and he's still executing his plan. Despite winning the leadership, his plan has not changed, which is one of the many things that people have written about him, talking about how when you get Pierre, this is who he is. He doesn't falter, he doesn't change, which many people criticized Aaron O'Toole and his team, where it's like he pivoted and he changed. And many people comment saying, what you get is what you see. And at the end of the day, I think that it has some resonating with especially people within the party, but I think maybe some people for the general populace. Sabrina, what are your thoughts on the recent Globe and Mail opinion piece on Pierre Poilievre's rise to leader of the Conservative Party? Because it talked about him from his young, career getting into Parliament, and then now where he is right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's interesting because as familiar as we in media and, political circles are with Pierre, the average Canadian still doesn't really know who he is. They might have heard the name, but they don't really know what he stands for or what his background is or any of his personal story. So to get to know those details, like he was adopted, his father then was divorced and came out as gay, that his wife, Anna, is an immigrant, and just all these details that aren't typical of a politician in Ottawa who were used to coming from a certain wealth class with certain connections, I think will lend authenticity to a lot of his messaging, because he's talking about, fighting the gatekeepers, inflation, affordability. He has said, he's in support of gay marriage. He is not anti-choice. And those are issues that the left wing has often been able to attack previous Conservative leaders on. And when you have these real touch points in his story, it's going to be a lot harder for them to sell those wedge issues and those attacks when he can point to saying, hey, I'm not anti-immigrant. Look at my wife. I'm not anti-gay marriage. Look at my dad. I think that's going to be very, very powerful as Canadians get to learn more about his background.
And frankly, he's not even anti-abortion. Because he recently came out and said, he's pro-choice. And so at the end of the day, I think that was a major sticking point for a lot of people. And so now you have somebody who's not pivoting, who's still sticking with what he had said. And these are touch points, like you mentioned, that will resonate with other people. But at the same point, he also has had touch points with the Conservative base, especially the social Conservative base, which I think holds a lot of weight within the Conservative Party. And even though there's a lot of new members, at the end of the day, he still needed to get the vote, and he won by a landslide, which is a clear mandate. Do both of you think that Pierre can win with other swing voters?
Absolutely, I do. I think if you look at his appeal, unlike Andrew Scheer, for example, lost in 2019, in part because he fought the previous election. He was fighting yesterday's battle. Pierre Poilievre has been talking about the issues of today, and what is impacting Canadians with his proposed solution, be it grocery prices, be it home ownership, a number of other issues, be it passport offices. He's talking about the issues that are impacting folks today, and he can continue to do that. And that's the keys for him to win a majority government. Not focus on conservative pet projects, not focus on personal pet projects, but on the voters' concerns.
Agreed. At the end of the day, people don't want to hear about what's important to the conservative people. They want to hear what's important to them as everyday people. Because at the end of the day, when you elect a leader, it's a leader who runs the country. That being said, we'll be right back.